Wow, I am in a Lamborghini Murcielago with a manual 6-speed transmission. It does not get much better than this. This is probably one of the most engaging cars of all time, at least for me. And I've driven a lot of cars, Ferraris, manual Ferraris, dual clutch, double pedal shifting Ferraris, Huracans. I've driven so many cars. Being in Southern California and LA, you have access to a lot. You have a lot of friends that have a lot of exotic cars, and you get to drive these things. I mean, or you get to ride in them, you get to touch them. I mean, I freaking rode in a Pagani, which is ridiculous. Angeles Crest in a Pagani. Oh my God. So I've had trouble making this video. I have a lot of hodgepodge of footage of, trying to capture the sound, trying to capture the visuals with a 360 camera on the front, 360 camera on the rear, as if you're driving in a video game. Again, the tone is so important to share. This is powered by a V12 Bizzarini engine, okay? A naturally aspirated, fiery V12 beast of an engine. Again, I had a hodgepodge of footage because I really want to share with you how awesome it is to be in the seat, to own one. And I wasn't sure what the title of this video was. Was it, why you must get this before it's $1 million car? Or, yeah, there's a lot of YouTube hype on the manual Murcielagos. It's the ultimate car to have. Why is that? Is that real? Does it live up to this hype? Yes, it does. Oh my God. Is this the best supercar you can buy between 200 and 500,000? Yes. That is a wide range. I mean, you see them all over the place. 200,000 might be very difficult. Super low mileage. Some weird additions are 600,000. I've been hearing rumors of manual LP640s are now 850. They're approaching $1 million. And then there's those, there's like 5 manual LP670 SVs out there. Those are probably $2 million cars, priceless. Manual roadsters. There's 4,000 of these, 4,100 Murcielagos that were made. Less than 1,000 were manual, all sorts of versions. So right out of the gate, there's not many. A lot of them were wrecked out there. A lot of them destroyed. It's a rare car. It's a rare car. Again, what I really want to do is I'm trying to put you in this seat. I want to share with you what ownership is like. I've had this for a few months now. I've driven in the canyons, hauling ass. I got a feel for its handling and so forth. I understand its shifting, Now I'm ready to communicate to you and show you. Murcielago was named after this fighting bull that fought so courageously that and survived with so many slashes that the audience wanted it to live. It wanted its life to be spared, and it was spared. And then it went on to go breed more bulls. Funny enough, and it went on to breed more bulls at the ranch named Mura, the Mura Ranch. Anyways, Murcielago means bat, which is very appropriate for this car because you have these 2 intakes that open up depending on the temperature and the speed to get more airflow, to cool and to get more suckage for the engine. And they look like bat wings, and this car was also in one of the Batman movies. So bat, very appropriate for this car. Let's talk about the outer. It was designed by Luc Donkerwolke. Luc Donkerwolke was born in Peru, but grew up in Belgium most of his life. So he's a Peruvian Belgian, whatever that means. And it's interesting to see the outer. the outer look because it is very angular, like the Countach was extremely angular. Countach was angular, Diablo smoothed out, and then the Murcielago went back to angular, and then of course the Aventador carried on that angular jet fighter looking thing. The Countach and the Diablo and this Murcielago definitely kept that front line, just boom, straight wedge down to the ground. Solid, straight, which is really cool. This car is slightly bigger and wider, a little longer, and which has more interior room. I'm 6'4", and I had a Diablo SV before this, and then Diablo, you know, I had to kind of crooked, you know, make my kind of, you know, move my hips a little, so I sat a little crooked, and my had to cock my head because my head was hitting the sill, but right here I'm sitting straight and perfect. Seats all the way back, of course. Seats are very tight, but not, they're still very comfortable. I'm kind of a narrow guy. I can gain weight this way, but I fit this way, thank God. I can't gain weight that way. 6'4", long legs, fit perfectly. The steering wheel's still off-center, which is a little weird, but you get used to it, you forget about it. It doesn't seem as off-center, quite as off-center as the Diablo. I'm not sure if they actually moved it, or these seats are slightly twisted in, and maybe it's just the effect that it has. It is 60% stiffer than the Diablo, which is fantastic. It is built on a tubular steel space frame, reinforced with carbon fiber honeycomb center section and underbody. This made it 60% stiffer than the Diablo, and I feel it when I'm going around those turns compared to the 98 Diablo SV. You know, the 98 Diablo SV was very nimble, being rear-wheel drive. What an awesome car, but it did feel a little looser. You know, this car is very stiff and very planted. This is the all-wheel drive. So when Diablos went to the VT, the viscous traction control, even though it looks like vicious, I prefer vicious, but it's viscous traction control. They carried through the VT, you know, then the Diablo 6.0. The SV, they went back to rear-wheel drive just to make it lighter and supposedly less, you know, more affordable. But they brought back the all-wheel drive, of course, or kept it with the Murcielago, and the torque distribution is 70% in the rear and 30% in the front, which I gotta say is awesome, because it does feel like a rear-wheel drive car, but when you're really hauling ass in the canyons, there's that 30% that just saves your ass. You know, and you definitely want to shut the traction control, because this traction control, I think it was designed by lawyers of, you know, people in the US, they don't know how to drive and they're lawsuit happy. So as soon as they put on power, make sure that's off. You know, shut the car down. So you got to take that off right away. But again, the all-wheel drive makes it very secure. One of the differences that I like about the Murci compared to the Diablo, which is a really nice update, is that the engine sits a little lower. There's a lower center of gravity because they went to a dry sump lubrication system, which keeps the engine well lubed while flying around turns. So it's never starving of oil, which is fantastic. The previous Bizzarrini, you know, in the Diablo and the Countaches do not have the dry sump. So it definitely helps, which is really cool. Again, lower center of gravity, the car feels way planted. You know, originally I was thinking of maybe I'll mod this to be rear-wheel drive, but I do love the security of being all-wheel drive. Anyways, back to the video. Weight distribution of the car, 42-58 weight distribution. Great. You know, I'm assuming it's 58% in the rear. You got that mid-engine. This is really center, and you feel it. When you're going around turns, you don't feel tail happy. Now, you see on the internet guys peeling out or whatever, losing control, maybe earlier Diablos, sometimes if they really hammer hard on a Murcielago, you know, that's extreme conditions. But again, it feels like the engine's right here. It's right in the middle. Very secure. You know, you're surrounded by wheels and chassis. Here's the engine. Suspension, 6 shocks like the Countach and the Diablo, funny enough, like a Testarossa as well, but that's single coilover for each front wheel and then dual coilovers on the rear, which is really cool. Whatever that philosophy is, it just handles the weight of the engine. I don't know, but it's an awesome. I love the 6 shock system. This engine is now a 6.2 liter. So Countach, Diablo, or the Countach, did I say that? The Countach and the Diablo and the Murcielago, you know, they kept increasing the displacement. And then this went to 6.2, which was awesome. So more torque, more power. Torque came earlier, around 5,400 RPM, versus the torque coming in at 7,100 on the Diablo 6.0. So torque comes in a little heavier, and it does. Compared to that 5.7 Diablo SV, I mean, this thing just, you feel it faster. It's awesome. And of course, that variable time, you know, in the 5,000 range, 4,500, it starts kicking in. You feel like a little mini turbo. What's also cool about this engine, different than the Diablo, is now there's 4 intakes, 4 throttle bodies, which one's right behind your head, and when it opens you hear this whistle of this, which is super cool. So 4 of them rather than the 2 that were in the Diablo in the rear 4. The 470 foot-pounds of torque, which is awesome. You really feel that. And you know, the 6-speed was lighter and quicker than the 5-speed. You know, the dogleg 5-speed in the SV was, you couldn't shift as quick because, you know, it's doglegs first, then you go to second. You don't want to grind gears. You want to ask permission to go to the gears, because then again, grinding gears in a freaking Lamborghini, you don't want to do that because it's too expensive. So even though 0 to 60 on this car is 3.8 seconds now, I'm not going to get 3.8 seconds because I'm not dumping a clutch and I'm not bashing through these gears. I'm still asking for permission, and I'm lining up the synchros, and everything is just working in unison, and I'm enjoying myself. And I gotta tell you, it's freaking awesome. When everything is clicking in, this is heaven on earth. This is heaven on earth. If you're a car guy, this is the ultimate car to have. It does live up to everything you see on YouTube. Now, the body, talked about that. The roof, steel, doors, aluminum. The panels are carbon fiber. Keeps the scissor doors, and of course, earlier I was talking about the bat wings. Those are, I guess, called sail panels. They have more air and cooling activated by speed and temperature. The rear spoiler is retractable, goes up around 80 miles an hour. The interior, leather everywhere, everywhere. Up here, there, it smells like leather. You can't get away from leather, and that's so Lamborghini. We're building tractors, now we're building supercars with leather everywhere. It's nice to have the scissor doors because you don't have to worry about curbs. It's a little hard for a big guy like me to get in and out, but I don't care. These are known as not only scissor doors, but billionaire doors. I mean, you know, when you're opening up that door and you're getting in, it's setting the tone and setting the mood. Like, this is serious business. You're in a supercar now, okay? You're not a Honda. Serious shit's about to begin. The controls are simple, easy layout. I love how everything is on the right side of the center console. Everything you really need. The window switches, your traction control on or off, your airlift, very important. Every time there's a curb, you hit this little airlift and the front end goes up and you can go over it. The super early Diablos didn't have an airlift, and they're so low. It's like there's no driveway you can go on a Countach or early Diablo. How are they doing this? You got to have the airlift. And airlift started appearing in the Diablos. I don't know, but did Lamborghini invent the airlift? At least for the supercars? Maybe they did. You have your little mirror controls, of course, wide mirrors, a lot more visibility than the earlier Countaches. They've learned, you know, the Countaches is one of the reasons they have the scissor doors, so that you can open the door and kind of sit and look behind you when you're backing up. So they kept that tradition too. Then you have, I think I covered it earlier, but you have this adjustable suspension system. You know, 1 through 4, it's kind of ridiculous because to me, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is stiff, 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 and stiff. And funny enough, even in the owner's manual, it's like, it says medium setting, setting, easy setting. It's like, what do you mean setting on 4? Is it hard setting? Or did they misprint? Was everything supposed to be medium settings? A little ridiculous. Very funny. All right, well, let's drive this car. Oh, we are in business. You can't drive this car without getting tremendous amount of attention. You know, it's a Lamborghini, and well, that'll get some attention too. I'm gonna pull over because I really want to haul ass, go through these gears so you can understand how awesome it sounds. Let's pull over. Anyways, about attention. Look, it's a Lamborghini and it's freaking orange. This is a Roncio Atlas, which has a pearl look. Lamborghini, you know, they're always outrageous. No design is outrageous enough. Pain in the ass when you crash or scratch. Try matching this weird 3-layer pearl paint. It's almost impossible. A friend of mine gave me a LP640 hood, which has the glass so you can see the engine. The early Murcielagos didn't have that. I want to see the engine, but I got to match the paint. My God, that's been insane. Okay, let's hear this thing. Oh! Oh my God! I mean, nothing else exists, right? You forget, like, what? Mortgage, kids, work, what? Nothing. This. Listen, let me downshift. Line up those synchros. Whoa! There's like just not enough road. This is engaging. Everything is being used. My right hand, my steering, my left hand, back and forth, making sure that I set the gear up for the right turn. To get maximum horsepower, slow down, downshifting. My left leg is being used for the clutch, you know, heel and toe. My half of my foot is being used for the brake, and flipping the throttle to match the revs so I can shift. That's a lot of energy. Glorious, so exciting. All right, so it's perfectly engaging and it's extremely, you know, I've learned it. You know, I was intimidated by this car because it does feel big. It's wide, you know, at first you're like, is this car heavy? I can't tell, I don't know. You know, it doesn't feel as nimble as, let's say, the Diablo felt a little nimble. You know, this is a heavier car. So it feels heavy, but I think it's just fooling me because it's just so extremely solid and stiff and wide. You know, you feel like you're taking the whole road. Visibility is weird, acclimating to the size of the car. So when you're looking out, you know, it almost feels like you're taking the whole lane. You feel like you're as wide as a freaking Hummer, you know, an H1. But you're not. It is a wide car, though. Don't get me wrong. Oh, I love it. I can't get enough. I don't understand. You know, I've had this for a few months, and I love flipping cars and flipping exotics, because if you buy right, you can enjoy the car, you know, get in tune with it, and then flip it and break even. If you break even, you're just totally winning because you just enjoyed yourself, you know, tremendously, gaining a massive experience that not many people can. And then you know, and then it didn't cost you anything. So if you have a little bit of money sitting in the bank, why sit in the bank? Turn it into a car, enjoy it, flip it. But you know, flipping to make money, now that's really fun. You get to enjoy a car, love it, and then flip it. Wow, you're totally winning, right? Unfortunately, right now, I don't know if it's a bubble, but car prices are insane. Used exotic prices are insane. Again, Murcielagos are just going crazy. Diablos are finally, you know, they were due to go up for a while. Oh man, it's really that 4,500 RPM. Once you get to that 4,500 RPM, boom, just that power, that roar, it's addicting. Now I have an aftermarket exhaust, so it's a little louder. I still have my primary catalytic converter so I can pass smog, but I don't have the rear exhaust, which definitely sheds weight, okay? Because like the Diablo and the Murcielago, the rear muffler is like a giant freaking refrigerator. I mean, it's massive. This is just huge, giant steel can that weighs, I think it weighs 80 pounds. So right out of the gate, you ditch that, you're shedding 80 pounds. You're getting great noise, you're gaining horsepower. I think I have a LOC exhaust made in Orange County. Big tips. The bigger the tips, I've noticed the lower the notes. You know, the tips might be a little too big, if they're a little narrow, they have a little more of that Formula One scream, which I love. But again, at the same time, I'm starting to get addicted to the tone of these tips, you know. And they look like freaking like out of a cartoon, like two 5-inch tips in the back, these giant tone cannons in the center. Once you have this, you can't go back, okay? Flip cars, but if I flip this car, it might take a long time doing it. Here we go, I'm slowing down because you gotta hear the tunnel. All right, here we go. We're tunneling. Wow. Oh, tunnel again. Let's do this again. It's downshift. I just want you in the seat with me, trying to feel and hear and see what it's like to be in this thing. There's a bump somewhere there, and I'm not sure where it is, but I don't want to hit it. Here we go. Canyons in a Murcielago, come on. It's worth it all. Like my friend Damien says, from Franco's European Sports Car, things can get sad real fast. Let's talk about ownership, okay? Owning a car like this, I can own a car like this because I'm a wrencher, okay? So the basic wrenching, auxiliary belt, oil changes, you know, axle boot, front brake pads, little bit of diagnosis I can do. So for me, I'm not quite as scared. As long as you're dealing with a solid car out of the gate, you know, which means not too much mileage, previous owner took care of it, how does the oil look, how does the car sound, what are the check engine codes, has it been well maintained. Now sometimes you don't know, sometimes the car has a lot of owners, but you know, on the lower mileage, again, a lot of these cars, you know, high mileage is like this, 30,000 miles is high mileage. Which sounds ridiculous because, you know, in other cars and German used cars, like, oh, 150,000 now, that's high mileage. It's like, no, you know, yeah, this is 30,000. The reason a lot of these supercars have such low mileage to begin with is you don't want to waste the mile. Like, I'm coming out to drive on a road like this. Yeah, baby. Wow. But do I want to be stuck on a freeway in traffic shifting this fiery beast? No, I don't. So I'm not going to waste those miles, you know? So yeah, parts are very expensive. You know, you don't want to break stuff. So again, you don't want to abuse this car. You don't want to dump the clutch. You don't want to freaking shred gears. You know, there's so much more to cars driving in life than 0 to 60 and top speed, okay? And also just going around a turn fast. Yeah, you get a modern 488. I drove that car. That's a freaking jet. You know, 720S, freaking jet. You can go around turns, but it does all the driving for you. Like, just hammer it. They're such unbelievable handling machines that they're designed to give you the fastest track time. But isn't that cheating? Like, wait, who's getting the fast track time? Is that me? Or is it the car? No, those modern cars, it's the car. They got some variable traction, this, that, blah, blah, blah. This car is still all-wheel drive. Take the traction control off. You're still doing most of the driving. You're really doing the driving, actually, when the traction control is off. Thank God you can shut that off. But those other cars are not. So when I go around a turn fast, I want to be in a car that I'm doing the driving, because then that feels like a win. That feels exhilarating. You're like on the edge. Okay, can you imagine, you know, it's like probably driving a Viper. You know, a Viper, you're probably more on the edge of death. This car, you're not on the edge of death, unless you're a total stupid. These are the cars that you want to get acclimated to, you want to understand, you want to get faster and faster, and then once you really get it, once you feel those power slides on the left or right, or you're just sliding out or where the braking point's at, now you're in control, now you really know this car. Now it is one where you can really push it to some limits. Again, you probably won't be able to push it as much as this car is capable, but you'll be able to push it. And for me, it's like, look, I got this long hair, this ponytail. It's like the Avatar movie, like I'm connecting to the car and we are one. I love that experience. And I gotta say, something about a naturally aspirated V12 and a 6-speed manual, you know, and just with not too much junk, not too much stuff. This car doesn't have Bluetooth, okay? There's no freaking bullshit everything. It's just my most important things is my RPM, my speed, my oil temperature, my oil pressure, my temperature of the car, everything that I need, right? This is all I need. Let's go, let's hit the canyons now, right?